This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Regina Lee.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Good Neighbor Podcast. My name is Regina, and I'm the owner of South Charlotte Media Group, and my favorite thing to do is talk to local business owners. Today, I have with me Andy Bahr. He is the founder of the Magnolia Assisted Living and Memory Care Community opening in South Charlotte. Wow, Andy, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm thrilled to be here.
Oh, I'm so happy. You know, my father was in memory care for 4 or 5 years, and I think we've toured every place in the South Charlotte and surrounding areas. So what a needed thing. I mean, it seems like all of us are aging at the same time. So tell us a little bit about you, your background, and why you're doing this.
Yes, no, absolutely. Thank you again for having me. And why senior living? I was running a transportation brokerage for 6 years, and there just came a day where I lost that passion, lost the fuel for that industry, and I knew people in it. I was good at it. It was going well. But there was just time for a pivot. And that's very tough for entrepreneurs to do because it's a big change. There's a big risk pivoting to a new industry. But it was time. And about 4 years ago, I learned about the senior living industry, started doing some research. And then about 15 months ago, my wife and I flew out to Arizona and did a 3-day training at the Residential Assisted Living Academy. So shout out to that academy with Isabel Garino, and just learned about it. And, we were like, all right, this is it. There's something here. And we signed up for their coaching program, came home and signed up for a local coach to really truly understand what we're getting into and started the process.
That is so cool. So tell us about the Magnolia. What does it look like? Where is it?
Absolutely. So right now, it's not ready. It's still under renovations. We are anticipating our opening between April 1st and May 1st, depending on permitting and licensing and inspections. But it is going to be a beautiful 6-bedroom community. And this community is private rooms. It's going to have a fire sprinkler system so you can age in place. You never have to move out. And it's basically a 1-to-3 ratio. So you have one caregiver, one CNA to 3 residents. So the care is going to be top level. We're going to have a beautiful backyard with a walking path and waist-high garden beds. My wife and I are going to cook. So the caregivers are only going to care. So it's going to be high class.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm just thinking of, my dad. It's a big job. By the way, your website is beautiful. You did a wonderful job. And, I can't wait to physically see it. I remember gardening at one of my dad's places. He was painting boxes. I mean, those activities and that engagement and having that 3-to-1 ratio, that's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah. And to your point, so my wife is going to be an amazing activities director. She's going to make sure the activities are dementia specific because the Magnolia is memory care focused, right? So making sure we really learn about the residents and what was their past profession. If they were a teacher, if they were a mom, like maybe we put a baby in a baby cradle and a walker and make it specific to the resident, give them routines and hydration stations throughout the home. Really are extremely thoughtful and purposeful as far as the design and execution of the home.
You know what comes to mind? It's you're building it as though it was your parents that were going to be there.
Thank you.
That's amazing. I remember my dad was a mechanical engineer, and they gave him a toolbox. It had a ruler and some stuff in there, and they would say, "Hey, maybe you could go fix the screws in something." And it's amazing when they feel, the love and that kind of attention. I also noticed they're fully furnished. That's pretty cool.
So the residents always have the option of bringing their own furniture, but yes, they will come furnished, and we're going to have very safe protocols. So hospital beds that lower and raise, wide 36-inch door frame, which is 6 inches more than what the state requires, just for ease of wheelchair access. Same thing for the bathrooms. We will have 3 bathrooms for 6 residents. So, it's just going to be a beautiful experience.
That's amazing. I can see the passion. Some people will see this visually, others will just be hearing it, but I see the smile on your face. That's awesome.
Thank you.
So let's talk about the process. If one of our listeners has a parent, and they don't, maybe it's right now, maybe they see it coming. What do they do and how does it work?
Yeah, the first thing to do is just, come to our website, book a call. We'll have a call together. And then pretty soon, in about a month, we'll actually be able to do a tour. And we are going to be setting up some renovation tours for some, private tours coming up soon for geriatric doctors and families that are interested in reserving their room, because there are only six rooms. But yeah, basically have that initial conversation, learn about your needs, your care levels, because in a family care home, we are going to care for those dementia residents, but there are certain care levels which we can't care for, like a trach or right off the bat, maybe like a catheter bag. We're going to wait on that, but we will have a Hoyer lift, and a lot of larger communities will not do Hoyer lifts, so we will do things that some communities won't do as well. But we just want to make sure we are appropriately matching residents with our home, and yeah, just having a conversation. And then once you've had that tour, we can reserve the room. Yeah.
So when it comes to the family coming to meet with you, obviously assessing the patient and then the financial aspect of, what you offer. Talk to us about that.
Absolutely. So we want to make it as easy and seamless as possible. So our care is basically all inclusive. So yes, one price. Your price will never change because your care progresses, right? So it's just easy that way. And we will accept residents with dementia, with they might be bedbound. They might be more able. They might be more of an assisted living capability, but there's more of a managing some level of memory care and memory loss that they have. It's really up to the residents, but we do want them to be some sort of similar level. That way, they feel like they belong in the home.
Right. And do you assess the patient? Do you actually meet with them?
Yes, of course. So first thing to do is go over the process of, A to Z. Okay, tour the home and then describe the levels of care that we accept. Okay, as long as that is a fit there, then the next step is to reserve your room. And that is through our paying the community fee. Then the next step is meeting with the resident, making sure that the care levels are, what was said. And then we're on the same page care level wise. We always want to keep safety number one. And then the next step would be to start that medication process of the medical paperwork, the resident agreement, the house rules, and things of that nature.
You mentioned it's all inclusive. I remember one of the places, it was there was an add-on fee to give you medication and how it's delivered. Right. There was all this little nitpicky stuff. It was almost like when you book a cruise, they don't tell you, you got to pay for this and this and this extra and the diapers and all of that thing. So you're saying all of that is included.
Yeah. Incontinence, your incontinence supplies, that is, variable depending on the residence. So that is separate, but we actually strongly prefer that the resident allows us, and the family allows us to, take that on as well, because it makes sure that we have the inventory in-house. But, as far as transportation to doctors, levels of care, food, utilities, we'll have, cable TV, everything in the home and furnished rooms, is all inclusive. So bring your toothbrush, bring your couple favorite sweaters, and we're ready for you.
Yeah. Well, I know having visitors and family come visit and things like that is a big deal for these facilities. 6 beds, you're going to fill up fast. What is your vision then for your business?
Yes. So we would like to start with one home, make sure it's dialed in and exactly like you said, just the way we would like it, as if our own parent was moving in. And then once we have that model in place, then for sure we would like to scale and be we're not going to put any limits on our growth while we are developing. And once we are full, and once our first beds are full and we are waiting on that second home to be open, we have a relationship with assisted living locators to help families the moment they come to us. So if we pre-sell our 6 beds and there's maybe a couple months before the second home is ready, we can still help you with other communities as well. So always want to be able to be in a position to help.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing, help me if I'm right, when you sit down and you do that initial conversation, if it's not a good fit for whatever reason, then you can then also help that family find the right fit.
Exactly. Because Magnolia is memory care. So if you are more of an assisted living type care level, we can still help you. If you're independent living, we can still help you. If the price point is a different level, we can still help you. Like, as long as you are looking for senior living options, we can help you now and in the future.
I want to share a misconception that my mother had when a senior living locator type person or an agent, like a real estate agent, wanted to help. Her radar went off that, oh, this is going to cost me more because you're helping me. Could you address that misconception?
Certainly. It couldn't be farther from the truth. It's the guidance that you receive from a senior placement agent or an elder care advisor is completely complimentary. So, this process is very straightforward. You have a conversation and you dive into your loved one's needs, your timeline, your budget, your geography preference, everything that's important to you. And then they go to their database, their communities, and they say, okay, what are those 2 or 3 communities that are the perfect fit, right? As a first round evaluation. And then the really good agencies actually go with you physically on the tours, answer your questions, meet you in person. They know the community directors personally.
That's right.
It's not just a quick email to the community, see if this guy wants to move in. No, it's a very hand-holding approach. And not only to get into the community, but after. If you have any problems, any questions, it's not like we just vanish. We're still here. We are here to help, forever.
Well, I think once my mother got over that mental hurdle and she did have that person, hold her hand, it was a game changer. And like you said, all of those relationships you have, why not, get that help and support?
Exactly. Because you bring up a great point. Typically, it is the family's first time doing this. So they have a million questions. And my wife, Lindsay, has made a very awesome 1 to 10, what happens, to move into the Magnolia, right? Like it's just amazing. It's so spelled out for you. And not only that, we also have what happens in the first 30 days. So okay, how, what's going to happen to move in, but then what's my first month going to be like? And it's just reducing that ambiguity, that anxiety. You as a family member want to make sure you're making the right choice because other family members are relying on you. They're like, hey, and you want to look good to your other family members, right? And this is your first choice through this process. So it's a big deal. And just physically moving is a big deal. And when you're older, it's even more of a big deal. So, that's why the help is there.
Well, to make that leap like in my situation with my mother, to say it's time to put him somewhere, it's such a huge, huge deal. And then you start thinking about it, and your mind goes in a million directions, and you find out you don't know what you don't know because this is an unbelievable process that you know nothing about. So it's big.
And to your point, it's such a long process. People don't know where to start. And one of the things we've done is we've partnered with the Alzheimer's Association with a support group. So you can go there as a family caregiver because most likely you're starting to care for that parent or that loved one, like you personally, like you're caring for them, right? And then maybe you have some home care or in-home health come in and help. but there's going to come a point typically where they now need 24-hour assistance. And, that's just the natural progression. But the support group is there, specifically for dementia caregivers and loved ones to talk about the struggles, because it's not easy. And
it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is very near and dear to my heart. I am super excited for what you're doing, Andy. I think it's a kind of a unique spin on what we personally witnessed. So tell our listeners how they can find you.
Absolutely. So our website is themagnolianc.com. So just themagnolianc.com. You can go there. We have information about our community. We have a blog, which is additional resources as far as, how to identify tips and dementia-related activities, and just trying to be a educational resource for you. And then coming up in about a month, we're actually launching our own podcast as well. So keep an eye out for that. So we're filming here today at the end of January. So end of February, it should be out, 2026. And we're just here to help. Yeah.
Well, it's a pleasure getting to know you. I'm excited for what you and your wife are doing, and congratulations. I know it's going to be it's very much needed. So spot on.
Well, thank you, Regina. And thank you for what you do. And, talking with local Charlotte business owners, that's very empowering for us to help get the word out about launching new businesses and even established businesses. I'm sure you see a lot of different types of occupations and industries, and just thank you for the work that you do.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpsouthcharlotte.com. That's gnpsouthcharlotte.com, or call 980-351-5719.